Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan, and we're getting close to the finish line.
2 days.
2 days away
from
the Eagles and the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl.
Finally.
And, we're 2 days away. It doesn't feel like an eternity anymore. But when you think about how far away Monday feels, Monday our podcast came out. I think that's the one we had John DiFilippo on.
Yeah.
Right. That feels like 5 years ago. Flip did a great job helping us break down the game.
Special, man.
Yeah. And then we did another one in the middle of the week on Wednesday, which was just a little bit of a look at Andy Reid 1.0 versus Andy Reid 2.0. And in between all that, here at Radio Row, which we're recording this podcast from here in Phoenix, Arizona, right? I mean, all the interviews that we've been doing, we still have today for those listening on Friday.
Yep.
Still got a bunch for another 4 1 hour blocks to go, and a lot more interviews. But we have covered this game from every angle. And I think the beauty of what we've done this past week is also talk to a lot of people who've just talked football, talked life experiences.
Ryan Leaf. Folks, one of the beauties of where we have a great location here, much better than we anticipated. You kind of have to walk by our desk here. So Geoff was, maybe it was you and Andrew, and I saw Geoff Schwartz. I'm like, hey, you want us to get you on live air? I said, should we get Geoff Schwartz? He said, yeah, go get him. I'm like, okay, I'll get him.
Yeah.
And then Josh Weinfeld, who works with us, our business manager. I know Ryan Leaf a little bit, and he grabbed Ryan for us, which is one of our favorite interviews of the week. But it's hard to rank them. I don't know if we have 30 interviews, whatever it was. I have 20 or 30 at this point. But the Jim McMahon one, folks, unbelievable. And he remembered. I forgot about Brad Gable,
right?
Who's a Richie Kote guy, and Pat Ryan, and he went through. There's so much about that season '91 that Jim remembered that I did not remember, and it was just a great interview. And he's gone through some tough challenges now, but it was wonderful.
Yeah, he was wonderful. Ryan Leaf, similarly wonderful. A lot of great football breakdown, a lot of great analysis. I do want to take 1 second to let our listeners know we are eternally thankful for Andrew DeCecco, who's joined us all throughout the week and helped us out. For Jimmy Hyden from Public Square Media, who has done all the back end production. For Josh Weinfeld, as you mentioned, to be here. Jason Avant done a great job, not only as our guest, who we ask questions to, but he's even sat down and been a part of Inside the Birds interviews where we're interviewing other people as he continues to get more involved with our platform. He's doing a great job. He's fantastic as he transitions more to the media side. Jason Avant has been a wonderful resource. And then just everybody else who's helped us out. It's been a great week. Our interns, I have to thank.
Phenomenal.
Ben Paul, Jesse Panacidi. They've been doing a great job either aggregating or cutting up clips and getting it on YouTube. And of course, Evan Partridge, who also works on the team here. And then everybody who's involved from a sponsorship standpoint.
No doubt, man.
Too.
Great help. Great teamwork by everyone really associated with our company. And really to the NFL, I got to thank them for giving us a great spot. I mean, this is the first time we've done this year, other than my stupid hands, which I don't know, what did I do? Lean on the desk a couple of days ago and it kind of knocked us off the air for a little bit.
Yeah, that was actually Adam who knocked.
Yeah, I know.
Webcam and didn't even realize it.
No, I had no idea. So, but other than that, we've been very lucky. The internet's been pretty good in here. We've got a hard wire.
Yeah.
And the guests, as you said, have been phenomenal. I've forgotten half of them already because it's been so wonderful.
Yeah.
And Louis Riddick joined us on Thursday. It was great.
Lou Riddick was fantastic. Ross Tucker
was great. I mean, we've been lucky. We're getting more today, and hopefully get more Eagle alumni. We haven't seen as many as I thought. Though B. West will be here today. Hopefully, we get him. B. Doc will be here today. Who else? Clay Harbor was fantastic.
Clay Harbor was great.
He might be joining us next year. Who knows?
Yeah. So, and by the way, as it pertains to this podcast and this preview of this football game coming up on Sunday, I would say 95% of the people who sat down with us to talk about this game and break down the game have said that they think the Eagles were going to win. And I don't know, even those who I think Jeff Schwartz, he's a former Chief. He picked Kansas City, but I think even in the interview, he said he felt the Eagles had the better 53.
Everyone said that.
Yeah.
There's not one person here of the, not 100 yet, maybe 50 people we've spoken to at least, who said the Chiefs have a better roster. It's obvious it's the better roster, but the better roster doesn't always win. There's factors sometimes which you don't see. You figure, you preview it well. We're getting into that later in the show. Injury report's very light, so we'll be doing a heavy preview in this game. It's just the Mahomes factor. How much is Hurts going to be able to run this game? Should be much better over 2 weeks. And it's just Andy Reid. He's bag of tricks. You think you've got a great game plan, and Andy brings out a shovel pass. Jody Fortson, the fourth string tight end. Kadarius Toney, we'll get into him. There's going to be something's going to happen in this game that we didn't see.
I agree with you. A lot of people have talked about the idea of expecting the unexpected, and we know that the Super Bowl is big for that. Philly special will live in infamy, obviously, and forever. So we will remember the Philly special. That's something that was unexpected for the New England Patriots. So yeah, let's just get to the details really quick. We will be doing our pregame show Sunday from Rivers Casino. It's going to be 10 a.m. till noon, sort of its normal Sunday slot. So we know a lot goes on the day before the Super Bowl. A lot of people are running around, or the day of, I should say. A lot of people are running around, getting stuff. Some people are going to isolate themselves in their rooms, I think, in Philadelphia.
Like me.
Yeah, I like to do that.
That's why I don't go to the game anymore, because when you're in the press box, people are trying to talk to you, get in your ear. I'm like, man, can I watch the game, please?
Right.
So my wife and I will watch it with our dog, Twiggy.
Right.
And no, we'll definitely do that. No, where will you be for the game?
Probably doing the same. Somewhere in my house, watching it, notebook out, pencil out, pad out.
I'm gonna be in our Discord channel. I absolutely will be joining in. We have a great Discord group of Patreon subscribers.
Yeah,
they're great. I definitely am doing that.
All right. And also on that Discord, we did speak with Thomas Dimitroff, former Falcons general manager. We've been talking about the Chalk Talk series and having another former GM. We wound up having Joe Banner on.
Yeah.
But now, yes, but this was really the guy we were alluding to
Tom
the whole time.
It was wonderful because he owns a data company now. He tells a great Howie Roseman story. I'll give you one hint. Rick Spielman actually said the same thing the first time we ever talked to him, but not quite in this detail. And I'm not going to give it away. And Dimitroff laughs so hard because Howie's so ridiculous. It's kind of like fantasy football when you're trying to get a better advantage. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Excellent. Now we know there's going to be a huge influx of Birds fans coming in here. I mean, it's already started. And I think in the next 24 to 48 hours, the takeover is going to start. You guys need to join us at McFadden's for the best Birds tailgate in Glendale, Arizona before the big game. Philly Sports Trips knows how to throw an amazing tailgate party. Birds fans from all over will be there together celebrating this amazing season along with Hollis Thomas, Jason Avant, John Dorenbos, and Wilbert Montgomery. Book your spot now at phillysportstrips.com. Go Birds, they say.
By the way, Wilbert Montgomery, Jaws will remember that. I'm going to ask him when I see him this week. He knows the name of that play when Wilbert ran against Dallas for the big game-winning touchdown. Oh, man, I can't remember what it was called. He just went to the right. Wilbert was so underrated, not a Hall of Famer, but such a terrific player, number 31. People forget how great he was.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get started with some of the podcast stuff. Start of the X's no stuff. We always start with injuries, so we'll look at the Eagles' injury situation. There's really nothing new, thankfully, for the Eagles. No. It looks sort of like their injury report for the last week or two. We know Lane Johnson dealing with a torn adductor tendon in the groin. Had some interesting perspective on that from a couple of people who said what helped him a little bit was the fact that the Niners did a mush rush, meaning they would rush, but then kind of they'd stop in their tracks. Yeah, that helped Lane Johnson not have to overextend himself on his sets. And we'll see if Kansas City takes the same approach.
Yeah, they were so worried about Jalen Hurts that they just did not play the regular defense. Because the game was so out of hand after the first quarter, after Purdy got hurt and then Josh Johnson got hurt, we'll never really know what that offense would have looked like. But Cam Jurgens is expected to play with his hip injury. When I say play, he'll dress.
Available to play, right?
Oh, and the big news, this is great. So Landon Dickerson, the hyperextended left elbow is fine. He took all the reps on Wednesday and Thursday. So he's ready to go because we weren't sure until you get out there. But the treatment worked. Robert Quinn is a new injury. He's expected to be available. And Devontae Maddox came out okay. I know he was seen with a boot last week, but that was for a precautionary reason. So barring anything unforeseen, he should be good to go. And they're going to need him because I'm telling you, we're going to get into this matchup. Folks, it's going to be a passing fest. I just have this feeling. We'll see what happens. But It's Andy Reid. He doesn't believe in running the football. He's the one coach that says, I don't care about running the football. I don't care where I'm
He's
coaching.
never said I don't care.
But he does it by play calls.
I know. He
By
really
the numbers.
does.
You know, I hear you. I hear you. But
that would be really funny if he one day he said, guys,
that should be a shirt.
I've been doing this for
should be a meme.
20 years now. You know I don't care about running.
Asking me to run the football. Would you stop? Injury updates for the Chiefs. Mahomes with the right high ankle. He's 2 weeks better now. He did not look great in the second half of the championship game against the Bengals, but he's going to go, of course. Isaiah Pacheco with a wrist, he'll go. Jerick McKinnon, both angles have light sprains, he'll go. Kadarius Toney is the only one. You know, Andy Reid's confident he's playing.
Right.
Hasn't practiced much this week. He's got the same troublesome hamstring for over 2 years now, but he has a new ankle injury. He said he's going to go. Juju Smith-Schuster with left knee swelling, he'll go. Trey Smith, the starting guard, he'll go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's not even on the injury report. He was activated off IR with a high ankle sprain. Been hurt a lot this season. The only question for him is, like, how much would he really play? Because McKinnon's got his role. Pacheco's the starter. I don't know how much he even needs to play. He'll dress, but how many snaps he'll get is up to them.
Yeah, yeah. Now, interestingly, when you talk about Mahomes, we had Dr. David Chow on at Pro Football Doc, and he's got his company, which is called Sports Injury
Central.
SIC Central, right. SICCentral.com. He felt that by far Patrick Mahomes is the more injured quarterback. I mean, they're both going to play, but among Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, he felt that the more restricted quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, and he thought by far.
Yeah, and you had the report with Lane Johnson. Also, we should mention with Lane, with Hurts, you had noted 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, 5 weeks ago, that also there was an issue with Hurts' collarbone, but it should be it should only be a couple weeks, and that's good. We know it's a moderate sprain, as was explained to us by a very plugged-in source, somewhere in a grade 2. But it's not 100%, but he's. The only question is, if you're playing the player prop, be careful, because he's been very careful to go out of bounds, to slide. He wasn't really doing this much before he got hurt. So if you're going to play the player prop, I don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I would do it.
Okay. We'll see. Who else do we have to talk about?
Willie Gay's fine with his shoulder. He'll be good to go. Now, when he got hurt, they backed off of him, but no, he took all his reps. He's good to go. So that's it with injuries. Good. You had said this early on. You said this on Thursday. This should not be a game where, okay, this team's got a big advantage because this player's out. We're not going to have that in this game.
Right. And I would like to see. I mean, we all like to see nobody get hurt and healthy, but you want this to be a really good, classic, epic game, and no
excuses,
injury to a major play. Yeah.
That would suck if, like with Purdy. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck.
All right. Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games and Ocean Casino Resort. This football season, cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on a parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean, go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get into the actual matchup here and get in on the Eagles offense against the Chiefs defense. Adam, this is, you just said it. You think it's going to be a pass fest, right? You've got Jalen Hurts ready to kind of open it up. Yeah, we haven't seen it the first 2 games of the postseason because we haven't had to see it. But obviously, you look at the passing game and the Eagles wide receivers against these Chiefs corners, and there should be some opportunities there.
So let's start with Hurts in the run game, because that's where it all starts with the Eagles. He is the major focus of the run game, and Miles Sanders' success comes a lot off of RPOs and Hurts. The team's not being sure where he's going to go, and I've said this many times lately. He does such a great job of hiding the football that they don't know if he's handing off or going to run. And you saw this against the Niners. Sometimes they stood still. I don't know what they were doing, but in the end, as we sort of go forward here with this Chiefs team, Willie Gay is a downhill linebacker. He's a thumper. He's a good football player, but their Eagles run defense, which was much maligned the first half of the season. The Eagles run defense is just better. They're not a very good run defense. They're very average. You could run against them, though. I think it'll be a pass fest. Now, here's what could happen. This is sort of an asterisk, and we've seen this. Where every once in a while, if they get up to this great, it's got to be a great start where they're going to throw the football. You saw it against Green Bay. 368 yards, whatever they had. Seen a couple games this season where we go, wow, they got off to such a great start. They just decided to keep running. That could always happen.
Yeah.
And my one thing I would worry about, and I've said this all week in every interview that I've had, and I'm going to give you more detail here. And I'll tell you why I feel this way. I think Hurts will be fine. I don't buy this. Is the moment going to be too big for him because he didn't look great in the last couple games? So first of all, they didn't have to throw to win. He's mentally tough. My only issue is, though, if you're going to put it on him to throw the ball a lot, you just can't get so caught up in it. And it's not about forgetting about the run. Don't try to keep up with Andy Reid. Just run your offense. Just don't. Coaches bring up this. There's a term that I got learned from a coach one time. An offensive coach goes, throwing tempo. Don't feel like you got to keep throwing to stay ahead. Trust your defense. Run your offense. Go against their weaknesses. The Chiefs are not very good at corner. They're deep. You can beat them. We're gonna get into that in a couple minutes here when we get to the receivers. Run your offense, but check the game flow. If the Chiefs are not stopping your run, keep going with it, but throw off your run game because they're gonna have to drop a safety into the box.
Right.
You're gonna see Juan Thornhill in the box. If they're not, is one of their starting safeties. If they're not stopping the run, when they drop that safety, bombs away, throw it. Take advantage of what they give you. This is not a very good defense. They've got a great pass rush, and we'll get to Chris Jones in a minute. But overall, to sum this up, plays are there to be made. Make them. I have trust in Hurts in this game. I think he's going to rise to the occasion. And when they're there, go after it. They're a very young secondary, particularly corner.
Yeah. The big thing you hear down here is what the Chiefs will really probably struggle with, because for the reasons you just mentioned, is that the Eagles will have 4 different options of what they want to do on almost any given play, especially when they're in their RPO mode, right? I mean, they're either going to run the ball with a running back, they're either going to run the ball with the quarterback, or they're going to throw a tunnel screen, or if there's press coverage on the outside, they're going to be able to throw it to Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. Now, think about if you're Nick Bolton, who's a pretty good linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Think about if you're Willie Gay, who's a guy who can run a lot, right? Think about if you're safety, whether it's Justin Reed or who's their other safety?
Thornhill's good.
Thornhill, yeah, they're all good players, but when you're mentally wondering which one of 4 plays they may do, you're trying to cheat one way, you're leaning one way.
They've not faced anyone like this.
No, this is how the Eagles catch teams that are good out of position, like before they did to the 49ers. There were a couple times I saw Fred Warner, and he just was not in the right spot because he's thinking the play was going one way, but the play was going the other way, or it went to a different person. And that is the advantage that the Eagles have in pretty much every game they play. Now, sometimes they've played some fronts at them that dictated what Jalen would do with the football. You can do that. That will be the chess match. Will Spagnuolo say, hey, every time they're in the shotgun formation, I'm going to crash one of my edge defenders where I think the run is going, and then make Jalen keep it, and then sort of loop my safety or linebacker around to try to stop him. The Bears did a good job of that. They hit him up, and they got him a shoulder injury, but not a whole lot of teams have had success trying to do that.
No, and they've not faced a quarterback like this. This is and the way that the Eagles run their offense. And the great thing about, in fact, I think Louis Riddick said it on our show earlier this week. The Eagles could beat any defense any way they want to. There's not a defense that could really stop them if they're healthy, which they are. Well, healthy. They're relatively healthy. When this staff has got it going, when they have a good feel for the way the game's going to go, they'll take advantage of any matchup. But the one guy's a home wrecker is 95 Chris Jones. They will line up at end. He's a tackle, but they'll line up at end to get a matchup. We'll see how we'll see how Spags sees this matchup. But overall here, this is just with the Eagles' offensive line being as dominant as it is. I'm not worried about Frank Clark. He's not the player he wants. Was. Karlaftis is a power end. He's an okay player. He's a first rounder. Not a lot of teams liked him, to be honest with you. And Mike Dana is more of a nickel rusher who's explosive. He's been a good story for them.
Yeah.
51. And Carlos Dunlop, number 8. Veteran DN, who was kind of in the twilight of his career. They've got a very good pass rush, there's no doubt. But I'm not. This defense is solid. Nadi's one of their D tackles.
This is a vintage Andy Reid coach team defense. I mean, Jim Johnson was a great. I'm not taking anything away, but Jim Johnson fielded a light defense. He was light up front because he wanted to be fast. They didn't mind giving up rushing yards. They were usually pretty good inside the 20s, though, and they were good at creating turnovers.
And they're not great. Kansas City's not
this
a great
team is not.
defense.
That's
no.
correct.
But you're right. They can get upfield. This defense doesn't worry me. I know the Chiefs have good depth. You mentioned Jalen Watson, who's a rookie, but Trent McDuffie, who's a good player, is only 5'10" and 1/10 of an inch. I am telling you that AJ Brown is going to get him.
Glad you brought that up.
It's going to happen.
I had this conversation with Jay. AJ Brown needs to be, and probably very much will be, a bigger part of this game than he has been for the first 2 games. It's hard to see AJ Brown come out of this game with like 4 catches for 36 yards. It's just really difficult. He's got great matchups. They're going to recognize it from the start, and it wouldn't surprise me if you saw a shot play really early, first possession,
muscle job
to AJ, even if like the one to Devontae Smith was a shot play, but it wasn't necessarily planned that way. It was 4th and 3. He was rushed out of the pocket, threw it up there.
Exactly.
I think you're going to see something more like what you saw against the Steelers, what you saw against who's the other team?
Titans. They
went
right after.
Well, you
they
just
didn't
go
care.
right after.
They went right after. Trent McDuffie is a competitive kid.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles loved him. He was the guy who was in play for them in last year's draft, but he's also small. And to me, AJ Brown, this is such an advantage. I'm going to make this guy earn his money as a rookie. I'm going after him. The kid Jalen Watson, the 7th rounder, has got size out of Washington State. It's been a good story, but he's a 7th rounder for a reason. I'm going after him. I'm all guns ablazing in this game. I'm getting after it, and I'm mixing Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell in. Kenny Gainwell's a guy that they got to get him more involved in the pass game, dump offs. I mean, you saw it a couple catches in the last game, which were pretty nice.
Right.
Gainwell could be a factor here when they run it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to the offensive line. Obviously the Eagles, you're never really concerned about the matchups there because they're so good. The only one area, and again, if the Chiefs sort of decide they want to bring a lot of pressure, they want to dictate, they want to force Jalen to hold the ball.
This is really improved against the blitz.
No, it's not even that. Yeah. It's more Lane Johnson now not facing a mush rush, but people who are going to come right at him. Maybe with 1 or 2, maybe overload on his side.
Put Chris Jones
on. We'll put it. I was going to bring that up. Board making Chris Jones, which they did against they've done that a lot this year. And you put a big, powerful body across from him. That's really the only concern I would have.
Lane
and the free rushers. By the way, we got to get to that in a second.
Lane is done this. We had this note before the first game back. We said on our pregame show that what we are hearing is he found a way in practice to manipulate his body. Like, let's say there's like 30, 40 movements an offensive lineman has in a game. He already eliminated like 10 that he just couldn't do. He's like, okay, here's my 20 I can do. I'll cheat on the others. I'll figure out a way to manipulate like my hands or my hips and figure out a certain way to do it. And that's exactly what he's done.
Right.
This guy is sort of subhuman in the way he does this. Who knows how these players play through injuries. And Avon had the same injury, the torn adductor tendon.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm the Chiefs, I'm putting Chris Jones over him. I got to put my best pass rusher as Chris Jones. Frank Clark's he's not bad, just not the player he once was.
Right.
You got to make Lane Johnson move.
Absolutely.
I don't like what the Niners game plan was. It just didn't work.
No, it did not work. And we'll see if Steve Spagnuolo, he's not Don Martindale. I don't want to make a comparison. What he's good at, though, and Greg Cosell had a conversation with us about this, is making you think the pressure is coming from one way and one place and it comes from another place. He is good at getting free rushers. And we even saw that against the Niners, even though the Eagles won the game easily in the first quarter. There were a couple of breakdowns from communications. It was not getting beat individually. It's just 2 guys blocking 1 guy and then 1 free rusher coming through. Eagles can't have that happen. They've had that happen a couple of times throughout the year. They cannot have that happen this time.
And always remember, the Eagles they don't really keep a tight end in. I mean, I know they'll play 12, but they're not keeping a tight end in just for pass protection. They like 12 for matchups.
Sure.
Keep them stolen.
Defense,
exactly. Right. They want Goddard to go out for passes. And
right.
Spags is interesting. He's not blitzing as much as he has before, but he selectively blitzes. Like, he'll go heavy, like you said, overload.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to try to find something. I just don't know, other than Lane's injury. Mala's not a weakness. He's playing very well. Dickerson's healthy enough. Kelsey's elite. He's still playing great. And Mailata's been solid. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, because The Niners didn't do what we thought they would do because they just were so scared of Hurts and the RPO game. You kind of know what the Eagles are going to do, and everything they do is dictated off of Hurts and on the RPOs, but no one's been able to really stop it.
Right. So also on the offensive line, Adam, before we move on, I didn't even realize this. We've had an intern helping us out with some analytic work. His name is Sam Finkel. Does a great job. So we thank Sam for helping us out. He had a breakdown of all 5 Eagles offensive linemen, and some of the stuff is pretty obvious. On the inside, they've been very good. Lane Johnson has been unbelievable, otherworldly as far as not allowing sacks and very few pressures. But Jordan Mailata, from a pass protection standpoint, is what you would consider the weak link of the chain, and that's not like calling
a lot
him,
to say, right?
Yeah, but because it's such a great offensive line.
Yeah.
But I think it was 6 sacks that he allowed this year, and a number of pressures, and he is going to line up against Frank Clark, or they're going to put Frank Clark and who's the other pass rusher?
But he's not much of a pass rusher.
Yeah. No, but
strong guy.
Again, Jordan Mailata is the one that probably is targeted by their team, saying we can edge him a little bit.
I would say Mailata, I hate to say he's leveled off. He's solid, but we're not at the Pro Bowl level guy. He's not there yet because he's still new to the game. We just expect, because he's been such a surprise, that it's just going to be, because there's some times where you get access to what people thought of the coaching tip. You go, oh my, I can't believe he's this good.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes he's not quite as good.
Right.
So that plays into what you're talking about. But overall, I just don't see a matchup. Like, okay, if Jordan can't help sorting, like let's say they overload on his side because there are rules for sorting.
Mm-hmm.
If he struggles with it, okay, that's probably part of it because he doesn't have exposure to some of these kind of blitzes. And this is, by the way, it's a Super Bowl. Andy Reid's going to show stuff.
Right.
Spags is probably going to bring something that maybe he hasn't shown this season.
Probably. All right. So that's the challenge that faces the Kansas City Chiefs defense, is dealing with this multi-dimensional Eagles offense. Oh, by the way, happens to have an unbelievable offensive line. All right, we'll get into the Eagles defense versus Chiefs offense in a second. Now we want to take a moment to talk about our friends at Flow Blend. Nate and the great people over at Flow Blend have created CBD pouches that are designed to boost energy, focus, and improve mood, but their main focus is to help people quit nicotine. Hey, if you don't believe us, just check out all the reviews customers left telling their story on how Flow Blend helped them quit. It's on their website, flowblend.com. They've gotten rated 4.8 out of 5 stars, and Flow Blend is offering a 20% off to all listeners who use the code Inside the Birds. That's one word, Inside the Birds, at flowblend.com. All orders over $49.99 include free shipping, and all orders ship within 24 hours. Flow Blend is also launching a new cinnamon haze flavor. It's actually been launched already, and they have an apple flavored pouch. Those are 50% off until stock runs out. Flow Blend created a first of its kind nitro. This is going to be a word I've not come along before. A first of its kind nootropic nootropic. My fault. First of a kind nootropic pouch that was crafted with ingredients known to boost focus, mood, and strength. The pouches are called Formula One, and they come in 3 different flavors. The founder of Flow Blend used to work at Wildland Fires and saw how hard guys would push past it to get the job done. Formula One pouches are a great tool to be at your best when it matters most. Quitting nicotine is tough. It really helps to have that tool that makes it easier. A person needs a shovel to dig a hole or a hammer to build a house. Now you got Flow Blend to help quit nicotine. All right. So let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs offense against this Eagles defense.
Oh, one thing I do want to add, L'Jarius Sneed was added after Thursday's practice with a knee issue.
Oh, okay.
So he's a slot corner. We don't know. And he's really a good player. He kind of was an outside corner, and he's now an inside corner. So we'll learn more later today. And then also, by the way, this is actually pretty cool. And unless something's changed, I doubt it. There's usually what's called a pool report. One national reporter per conference gets to go to every practice and kind of write what he sees or she sees. So there's usually a walkthrough report. So if Snead is not in the walkthrough, we'll know about it. They have to talk about it. So that's good.
Yeah.
And also for the Eagles, we should add one more after Thursday's practice. And this is important. Britton Covey was added with a hamstring injury. He was limited. Now that if he can't play, this could play into an elevation for the game, like Greg Ward or somebody like that.
Now, there was a great story on our website, InsideTheBirds.com, written by Andrew DeCecco about Greg Ward being sort of a guy whose role is completely different than it was 2 years ago when he was the team's leading receiver, but yet still making an impact. The younger receivers love him. He enjoys his role. Obviously, it's very limited, but he still gets to be on the team, and he really enjoys being.
This is
the Super Bowl.
It is crazy. It's unbelievable. and the former staff debating whether he should be on the roster. It took them 3 years to figure out the guy could play at this level. But anyway,
yeah.
So that's it. So those were the late injuries, and we will definitely be talking about them on the pregame show and kind of where we're at with them. But we will if we feel like we need to put a piece on the website, we'll put a piece on the website about these injuries updated. But overall, again, it's a situation where if the guy could walk, he's playing the Super Bowl. You got to play. You got to play.
Yeah, got to play. All right. So Kansas City Chiefs offense versus the Eagles defense. I would say that most people that we spoke to who really know Andy Reid well and know or have ties to the coaching staff, we've I'm not just talking about people we've interviewed, but people we've coming around here say that Andy's going to have a plan to deal with Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. And it's not just going to be my guys are going to block them. It's going to be something more along the lines of they expect to move him outside the pocket a lot, even though he's got a gimpy ankle. They expect a lot of quick game, a lot of screens. Jason Avant, one guy, thinks it's going to be a ton
I
of
got something
screens.
for you.
Yeah.
I talked to my friend Warren Sharp. Warren said that there's one weakness the Eagles have. It's within 10 yards are not very good. Whether it's a running back, a tight end, it's because of the spacing they give up. In Warren's stats, he sent me his report for the Super Bowl. He said the one area you can get them, they're elite over 20 yards. Because
nobody has time to throw the ball down the field.
That's part of it. And they're just, for whatever reason, within 10 yards. It's kind of like you can't cover every blade of grass.
Right.
We'll give this up to you. So this is where Kelsey could hurt them. Obviously, McKinnon, Jerick McKinnon inside the red zone. I love his anytime touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know. Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be a factor, but McKinnon to me, Pacheco also caught 5 balls in the last playoff game, but he's really not a pass catcher.
Right.
Juju Smith-Schuster in the short area, so just keep an eye on that.
Yeah. One of the points I had made to Greg Cassell, who told me that was a great point, even if I didn't mean it intentionally. just
inside joke.
Is that Jerick McKinnon is sort of like to Patrick Mahomes this year what James White was for Tom Brady. And before James White, it was who? I mean, early on, it was Kevin Falk, right?
I was going to say Kevin Falk, Shane Vereen.
But there was another.
Actually, I saw here this week.
Big time. Who was the guy he used to always throw to?
Danny Woodhead.
Danny Woodhead.
Or there you called Danny Woodcock.
No, hey now. All right. So
I'm just saying,
that's his name, right? So you can see that from McKinnon, not just because he relies on him, but he's a great pass protector. So he's going to be another guy that helps negate or neutralize or attempt to the edge rushers and Sweat and Reddick. But he's also a really good pass catcher, and he has an innate sense of where to be. And Patrick has an innate sense of where to find him. And he has turned a lot of short passes into big. He's not like Darren Sproles. I mean, he's a good runner, but just within this offense, he's been able to take the ball, turn upfield, and make some plays.
McKinnon has just been incredible. Ronald Jones almost, if CEH is up, Jones will not be active. McKinnon in the short area is a guy I'd be, again, I like it. I like that prop. I'd be worried about him. And then also Sky Moore now is getting more snaps. Now, part of it is because Justin Watson, former Penn receiver, missed their last game due to an illness. He's fine. He's not even on the injury report. He's a shot play guy. He's tall. The Eagles have, we've outlined this before. The Eagles have struggled at times against taller receivers. I don't know what it is.
Right.
It's not like the Eagles corners are small. They're both over 6 feet, but they get leverage sometimes. Watson could run. MVS can run. Valdez-Scalen's a shot play guy. Doesn't catch a lot of passes. Sky Moore in the slot, but he's good running after the catch. Kadarius Toney is an X factor. That's the guy I would worry about.
About
That's the guy that Warren Sharp, I think, was talking about. That's a guy in the short area. Jet sweep, end around, something like that. Yep. Be ready. Andy is going to pull this stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to pull out the
gadgets galore.
100%.
Absolutely. And that would be the guy
ready.
to worry about.
Be ready.
Now, everybody's been telling us, when we were in Philly, we got a lot of feedback, a lot of emails, a lot of from fans. This is all right. All the Eagles got to do is shut down Travis Kelce. And I think we've done a really good job this week of talking to different people, whether it's Avant or
well, it starts with Kelce, obviously, but
yeah.
You're not going to stop him.
Explaining that he's not your conventional route runner. He's so good at freelancing, improvising, and finding spaces in the zone just on where he thinks he should be. And Patrick Mahomes and him are on such a great wavelength together that's why every defensive coordinator every week says, I'm going to draw the red circle on Travis Kelce. And the man still comes out with 8 to 10 catches and 2 touchdowns.
And they cannot have the back-breaking seam passes with him. It never ceases to amaze me when teams play zone. Cover 3 beaters, cover 4 beaters are tight ends, left hash, right hash. It's just, or deep middle. And now Greg Cosell said to me, and he and I had a long discussion, he doesn't think it'll be Kaiser White. He's pretty convinced it's going to be CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, Gardner-Johnson is an amazing football player. He had to learn this defense on the fly-in season. He's just been a great story of development. But that's a tough matchup for me. I know Kaiser White's coverage numbers were not as good as they were in the first half of the season, but CJ Gardner-Johnson's under 5'11". All right. Now I think a bracket could be smart. Bracket them. I'm not worried about these chief receivers.
Right.
It starts with Kelce. You're not going to stop it. Can you control him? Hold him for 6 for 70. I'll take 11 or 12 yards per catch. But the back-breaking catches demoralize the defense.
So, and the secondary concern to that, Adam, is if you are going to use CJ Gardner-Johnson in more of a slot role on Travis Kelce, what you're doing is running sort of a 5-1 front, not a 5-2 front, because you need that extra guy for both Maddox and CJ Gardner-Johnson to be on the field,
5-1-5.
And that means you're taking Kaiser White off the field. It's not that think Kaiser White's the big difference maker, but when you play that 5-1 front, that's when you can get a little loose in your run defense, because you really only have TJ Edwards out there as a run defender, and the Chiefs are really good at running with Pacheco out of passing formation. So it might look like they want to throw to Travis Kelce. Yeah. You might think you've got him well defended with Gardner-Johnson, but what they're really doing is setting you up to be able to run with Pacheco.
But I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you take that.
I'll take that all day. Andy won't do it. He just won't. Pacheco might wind up with 15 carries, but he might only have the only 15 carries.
Yeah,
only carries of the game, because it's just you want to invite them to run the football. Andy's not. He just doesn't want to do it, and he's smart, because you should come out passing. Now, Warren Sharp felt that there was some plays you could make against the secondary, but he just, again, felt that the short area, they give up because they play off coverage. They rarely press. They just don't believe in it. And the players like playing off coverage and then close.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they did a great job closing against the nine receivers. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
After Purdy got hurt, it was a nightmare for them. But overall, to me, it's controlling Kelce. Look, let them run all day. And you got to play good red zone defense. And the problem, and getting back to Mahomes, is look, he's going to see some creases in your defense. He's going to find a soft spot to throw the football. Just play your keys, how they're taught. Don't get out of what they taught you. Just run. And Gannon too, by the way, he cannot get passive. If you're going to back off the whole game, he's this year, because there's no Tyreek Hill, they'll nickel and dime. They're happy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't let these guys run free. And the one thing is the free access stuff.
Yeah.
Can't get back to free access, because it's Andy Reid, one of the best play callers in NFL history. He's going to take advantage of it. He's going to find something. Don't screw it up, Gannon.
Do you have a little concern about a guy like MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and his ability to make big plays against James Bradbury, who has been beat a few times this year down the field?
And I'm not worried. I know people brought up when Slay got beat by Kenny Golladay. That's like a one of a 2000 fluke play,
impromptu play,
and he was right there with him. He just beat him, but no, we've talked about this. Metcalf got them
right. Rashawn Shaheed got Bradbury.
Rashid could run, he could fly, by the way, and Devontae was it? Wait, who got them this year? The Eagles.
There was also a kid on the
receiver.
Texans that got Bradbury.
Chris Moore got him.
Yeah.
6'1".
Yeah.
Out of UVA.
Right.
No, they've gone to gets guys who've leveraged them, and I don't know why they get leveraged.
Mhm.
It shouldn't happen. These are two veteran corners, but overall, they've been two of the best corners of the National Football League, two of the top 10. But they just have to play a little bit stronger. How do you see it? Do you see it as a high-scoring game?
Not
Mr. High
not
Score.
41-38,
Yeah,
but I think
33,
both teams are gonna get. I think one
High
team's
20s?
gonna get at least get 30,
Okay.
and the team that doesn't will get
All right.
high 20s.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the way I see it. That's a good segue here as we finish it off. Anything else that we have on the Eagles?
Okay.
Defense?
Yes. The last thing I'm going to tell you, it's Andrew Wiley. Okay, the right tackle.
Oh yeah. In fact, Sam Finkel had brought up the stats. I was shocked when I saw on the research they did how often this man has been beaten.
I cannot believe he's just. I know Niang got hurt. He had an ACL I think it was an ACL a couple years ago. You know who's on their team? Prince Tega Wanago.
I saw that. Prince Tega
still there.
I remember some guy. What they drafted?
Oh, I think I remember. Some guy came after
Some guy emailed us and said
no
Prince
chance.
Tega Wanago it did not allow a single sack his senior year at Auburn, and he was going to be a 10-time Pro Bowl left tackle.
We were out of our mind.
And we were out of our mind saying he was going to have to fight to make the team.
It's just not. He
That
also
was
had the
funny.
rod in his leg, so we kind of knew he was.
Yeah.
The Eagles missed on that one, but we kind of knew that when he was drafted.
You don't really miss on a 6th-round pick.
No, but
right?
we thought he had no chance based on what we had heard, and that
Right.
turned out to be true. But hey, good. He's on their 53. So
Yeah.
good for him. But that is a matchup, number 77, folks. That is a matchup that, and you mentioned earlier to start the show. Well, Andy does not like to chip. Is he going to do it? Because he's going to have to, because I'm telling you, they're gutting after 77. That is the matchup. If the Eagles win that matchup, Chiefs are in trouble. I don't care how great Mahomes is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scrambler, more of a runner. Now, he'll have a couple backbreaking runs where he sees a lot of daylight. But to me, it's the matchup of the game. It's beating Wiley, which they should absolutely do.
Yes. Now, the stats I was referring to, and this again from Sam Finkel,
Okay.
Andrew Wiley at right tackle, 9 sacks allowed, 5 quarterback hits, 39 hurries. But the really one that gets me, 23.2% pressure allowed on dropbacks. If you compare that to everybody else on the line, although I will say, Orlando Brown's a good left tackle. They gave up a lot. They got him. His pressure rate is 23.6. He is someone that I surprisingly found out down here is someone that maybe isn't as highly regarded as maybe Orlando Brown regards himself. I mean, we know he wants a contract.
Not a great athlete.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy like his dad.
Right.
A good player, but not great. And by the way, one thing we should mention from my friend Warren Sharp, I knew this, but the way he encapsulated is very interesting. So I knew the Chiefs run defense, when you look at the running backs they face, other than Josh Jacobs, it's not great. He said second easiest run schedule by his statistics. They rank still below average, though.
Mm-hmm.
He said the Chiefs have played 7 games versus top 15 run offenses, and that's it. That's it. And they've played 5 games versus top 10 run offenses. So this is a team, the Eagles, when they decide, this is what Baldy was saying. And anyone we've had this week, when the Eagles decide we're taking the game over running the football, it's over.
Yeah.
The Eagles, those little traps, inside zone plays, they crushed the Niners on it. That's one of the best fronts in football.
It was. They really, really blew him off the ball. And it's like you said,
incredible.
It wasn't anything intricate. It was just inside zone, double team.
They're double teams
up front.
Did you see the all 22 double teams? Ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know what else has to happen here. I get that the Eagles are the favorite. They clearly are the better team coming in here.
Right. As Ross Tucker explained, when you have a 360-pound Jordan Mailata next to a 350-pound Landon Dickerson, that's over 700 pounds of man coming at you. Yeah. All right, we're going to get to our score prediction in a second. Want to make sure you check out our friends at PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto, so make sure you check them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation. And let's pause real quick for one more word from our friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schulter, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
And if you happen to stop in at Sky Motor Cars in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Jeff sent you. You'll get a great deal. All right. This is the last one of the year.
Right,
Make it a good one.
Remember with the Niners, I felt a little bit squeamish early on, but later in the week, I'm like, all right, the Eagles are going to beat the Niners. Felt pretty confident of it. In fact, I wanted a particular blowout, but it's just because the Niners defense is so good, and they wound up blowing them out, but not for the reasons why I thought. But this game here, look, it's a tough one. It's going to be a tight one. I got it. Chiefs 27, the Eagles 30.
Way to stay to form.
Yeah, I had to do. People love that.
30-27.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tight.
It's over.
Oh, that's definitely over. Yeah.
If they cover, Eagles will cover.
Well, the cover, the spread is basically a pick 'em, right? All right.
One and a half.
One and a half, right. I will say this. I came down here thinking that the Eagles were going to be up by 3-5 in the fourth and score a touchdown with about 8 or 7 minutes left to go and really put the pressure on the Chiefs by going up, 10 to 12 points, making it a 2-possession game. I've thought that all along until about 5 minutes.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right. And I just think that Andy will have more of a plan to combat what the Eagles do well than maybe I anticipate. I do think the Eagles are going to win, so I'll take the drama away there. I think it's going to be close as well. I'm going to say that the Eagles win 36-30.
66 points.
Yeah.
Now I'm confident Hurts is going to play well. I just worry about asking him to throw the ball 40 times. If it has to happen, I think he could do it. He's showing he could throw 30.
Well, I'm worried only because that just that to me says that they weren't able to kind of get what they normally get.
Their defense must have sucked. No. If he
or that, right. Or the defense must have
struggled.
Sucked.
No, they're going to throw fast. As much as I've been so happy with his progress this season, as we evaluated him, and he's shown he could throw at a higher volume, 40 or more is a lot for a young guy who hasn't really had to do it yet. But now I'll say this. He did a great job. People forget the Chiefs game last year where their defense was terrible. Tyreek Hill ran rampant against them. Hurts played really well in that game. That was a time with 380 yards. He had to throw the ball a lot. But again, he hasn't had to do it very much. And this is a lot to ask. But I do believe he's up to the task. But just don't put him in a position where he's got to throw to win the game like second half, like they're behind by 10.
Yep.
And that would scare me because that would mean that Gannon didn't do his job. Like he got passive.
Definitely. All right. And all that's left is the game to be played. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. As always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.